Hello there, Ascended in Darkin. Today, after hundreds of you voting for it, we bring the design of Xolaani the Bloodweaver to a League of Legends. First, we will refresh everyone's memory about her backstory, discuss her current looks, and present an Ascended form. Then we show a kit, the Splashart, and the skins. So, let's dive right in. To bring everyone on the same level, thousands of years ago in Shurima, the Targonians helped build the Sun Disk to channel celestial power and create powerful demigod-like warriors. Shurima became an empire until the neighboring state Ikathia unleashed the void against them, resulting in a catastrophic destruction. Shurima's god warriors fought the void's horrors, scarring many. But the nation endured until Emperor Azir was assassinated during his ascension ritual, causing the Sun Disk to fall and the capital to be destroyed. This led to the Darkin War, where the once noble Ascended warriors became cruel leaders. Xolaani, with the promise of power, gave blood magic to the Darkin, secretly gaining control over them. Many Darkin united against her, but shortly before she was defeated by Talos, another Darkin, they were stopped by the Targonians. The aspect of Twilight created a weapon to defeat the Ascended, and most of the Ascended warriors, including Xolaani, were sealed inside their weapons. This lore is as canon as the current situation with Riot changing the lore gets. Now I will quickly add what happens in her Legends of Runeterra story. Xolaani's blades are hidden in Ionia, safeguarded in Master Yi's new Voju school. There, Yun is a key figure. The Shadow Order learns of the blades' location and sends Kayn to retrieve them. Depending on your playstyle, Kayn either defeats Rhaast or is consumed by him. If Rhaast wins, he defeats everyone and takes the blades. If Kayn wins, Yun might use the Darkin Bloodletters to defend the monastery, leading to Xolaani taking over her body, defeating everyone and returning to Shurima to grow her power. Xolaani's awakening stirs all the other Darkins. Aatrox readies them to defeat her. Targon sends the aspect of justice along with Kayle to handle the threat. Kayle sends a messenger to rise. The armies clash in Ikathia, leading to multiple possible outcomes. Aatrox could win and end the world, or Xolaani could defeat Kayle's mother and absorb her power, going on a rampage. Ultimately, Rise uses a world rune to end the conflict, a massive story that would need an adaptation to give the characters justice. As you've seen, the story has a lot of ifs and whens. Designing the character, we have to come to consent on how to make her look lore accurate and plausible. Currently, Xolaani's design mixes elements of her host Yun and her statue of the faceless god Kavarhad. Xolaani has golden elements all over her body, something that differentiates her from fellow Darkin. She has the 3 eyes of Yun, which give her a unique touch. But something that's a little bit odd is that being the most skilled blood mage, her body looks a lot less put together than the other Darkin. This can be a sign of her mental damage and corruption. It definitely looks the part. Other than that, her design is relatively basic. In contrast to the rest of the Darkin, she looks a bit bland, because she shares a lot of similarities with existing characters. And in her final design, her body looks a bit as if she would wear a stone bikini. The other thing that is a bit iffy is that her story is similar to existing characters, looking at Renata, Zyra, and Belveth. In all 3 cases, domination and control of others is the goal, and in the case of the latter, she shares the philosophy of becoming everything. That said, she is still an exciting character, and before we translate the design, I will show you something that might bring a smile to the face of the ones who are here since video number 1. The Xolaani Ascended design. The question for all of the Darkin is, how did they look as Ascended? And Xolaani is no exception. Xolaani is described by Kayle's mother as nearly divine. The things I took into consideration were animals who regrow limbs, as well as animals that change over their life. Xolaani's magic allows people to change their bodies, rejuvenate, and is tied to blood. To describe what you are already seeing, I gave her somewhat insectoid shapes. My thought was that a weaver of blood could be translated to weaving a cocoon. She could weave blood and bone to create new body parts, seal wounds. Imagine it like a cocoon that envelops your severed stump of your hand and underneath grows a new hand. That's why she has these elaborate wings that have the Shuriman colors fade into a crimson red, representing her magic. Additionally, I thought of making her skin white as bone, but this is something that would look too much like a normal skin color, and I decided to go for a similar red to Lilith's form from Diablo 4, fresh out of the ritual. Finally, I always think about why the Darkin have their horns, and if you can make them makes more sense than being a demon or devil reference. That's why I recreated the shape of the face with wings and added a veil that covered her eyes.
Xolaani is a healer who saw all the crimes of war.
So I believe it would be viable to give her a veil that covers her face so that it shows I am not fine with what's going on here. With this design, we have a solid base to go into her in-game design.
First things first, I added the typical greyish metal or stone tones back into her design. I gave her a mixture between her two outfits, made it more feral than the first one and more regal than the second. I changed the weapons in a way that opened them up in the middle, showing their glowing red like an open wound. It always pained me that Xolaani of all Darkin had no visible blood magic. Continuing, the same was done to the wings, creating some sort of see-through flesh membrane. As you can see, I added her mask she inherited from Yun, who is part of her design from start to finish. That's why I decided to keep her influence. But that's not all. I believe a lot of people want to see the angelic version of Xolaani, the version which is a corrupted version of Kayn's mom. The reason why I'm not sure if this is good is because I would love to see Kayn's mother herself in the game, and additionally this would make her Bel'Veth level powerful and create too many parallels. And finally, my main reason is that this version of her is a what if Xolaani. It would confirm that Kayn's mother is dead, and a big question mark about the fate of the world would arise. And that's why during her ultimate she somewhat changes, becoming leaner, her face remembering her ascended form and her weapons unrolling, similar to her aspect bane form in lore. And finally I did her Splashart. I placed her in the Dark Night in Icathia, between her loyal subjects. She just returned from Ionia and regrew in the shadows of her blood altar. Xolaani welcomes her subjects, assuring them that she will not let them die. And one thing I tried after doing the Splashart was a face design closer to Rhaast's face, because I'm no friend of giant humans with perfectly normal faces. And additionally, I created a version with the veil wings, which I like the best. Now to the abilities. We will start with the active abilities. Xolaani's Q is Bloodweave. Xolaani throws out a wave of blood that costs her current HP, dealing magic damage. On the way back, allies get healed, and the heal gets stronger the more champions are damaged.
They will never die, because I will never let them.
Similar to Mundus Cleaver, you should use it properly. If you whiff it, you don't get your life back, and you will get low soon. The W ability is Sanguine Barrier. Xolaani shields an ally for a certain amount. After that shield is applied, the champion gets increased Omnivamp and can heal for the same amount as the shield.
They will love me once again, as will you.
Xolaani's theme is do damage, get healing. This also counts for her ally. To make sure that the healing does not become absurd, it is tied to her heal and shield power, as well as having a cap to make sure that the carry does not heal full health in a team fight. Also, her W is traits only healing, that way you can't play super save and life steal on minions. Xolaani's E is Binding Promise. Xolaani creates a corrupted shrine on the ground, chaining a champion to the area. If the champion does not leave the area in time, they get snared.
Hush, my child.
Xolaani can use the ability with 200 units more range on allies afflicted with Sanguine Barrier. Xolaani's E plays similar to Victor E. You can attack champions from different angles, which gives her a good skill curve. Xolaani's ultimate is Peace Through Servitude. Xolaani sacrifices some current HP and becomes ghosted. She can recast the ability to flay her bloodletters, hit enemies are slowed, and heal her and her lowest enemy for a certain amount. Consecutive hits increase the slow.
I am freed.
Now the passive, Blood is Light. Xolaani collects life essence to strengthen herself during the game. Xolaani's power grows when she saves champion and chains enemies. If she hits a special check mark of healed HP, she gains 1 stack. For every prevented death, she gains 5 stacks. For every snared enemy, she gains 2 stacks.
Life is precious. It must be protected.
On the first checkmark, Xolaani's Q gets 2 swipes. On the second checkmark, Sanguine Barrier gets decaying movement speed. On the third checkmark, Binding Promise gets a second rechargeable stack. On the last one, her ultimate deals more damage and is 300 units long. Entering level 3, Xolaani can build a blood altar on her lane. This altar can be activated by sacrificing 20% current health. Xolaani has increased ramping movement speed towards the altar. If she leaves the altar, allied champions gain 3 HP on hit, capping at the total shield's value, as well as a lifeline effect that triggers once they reach 50% HP. There can only be one blood altar at a time. I wanted to create a champion who feels like slowly sucking the life out of the enemy team. Someone who bends their mind. It was important to me that she does not get infinite scaling, because specifically as a support, I think it's pretty good when you try to actively be part of a team and do not sit around collecting stacks. That's also why I gave her the roaming passive that lets her group up with a jungler or a mid laner for ganks. In generally, she should be played as a support, but if the scalings are right, she could be played mid with a burden build. And this is Xolaani the Bloodweaver. Xolaani's abilities were really hard because abilities like Lysandra's Thralls, Renata's W, or Morgana ult, Zillion ult, exist, and they would have been amazing for her vibe. If you have any cool ideas for her kit, just let me know, and we will take a last detour into her possible skins. First and foremost, the most obviously is her Ascended skin, something that Aatrox definitely needs as well. Then we have a Coven skin. Like most of the Coven witches, we have the blonde hair, the black and white clothes, the red and purple accents. I kept 3 eyes on the side and was very pleased with the look. The other skin that could be just an Ulf form or a second skin from the universe would be Old God Xolaani, a dark maw that needs to devour everything in order to become it. This monstrous form would be a great addition, in my opinion, to add to the universe and fit nicely with creatures like Warwick and Mordekaiser. The 2 designs could just as well be the normal and the Ulf form, and she is, for example, an avatar of the Old God, but also part of the Coven.
Next up, there's the calligraphy skin from Wild Rift. Here we have Xolaani who rewrites her history with ink. I'm sure that blood skins always lead to very good art skins, because paint and ink can share a lot of the same visuals as the liquid. And lastly, we have the Primordial skins. These are obviously inspired by the current game mode. The fishy aesthetics fit her very well, and I'm sure that she would be a cool displacement boss in the game. With this, we conclude the video. Xolaani the Bloodweaver, with an Ascended form, a kit, a Splashart and skins. Now let me know what you would have changed, what you would like to see in the future, and leave a like and subscribe for more videos of this kind. This was Arthis, and I'll see you in the next video.